Look at you. What's doing, Putty? Hey, what's doing? Hey, meow. Did what, my Putty? Hey, you're nice, Putty.
Just been bringing a bit of wood in. I have barely cut a thing this year for this winter because I had so much stuff cut other previous years. All this is the same stuff that's, you know, my uncle got from who knows where. It's a whole bunch of hardwood offcuts. Sort of varies in quality based on how high up it is. The stuff on the top is sort of really going a bit bad and almost bordering on rotten. And then you get down deeper and it's really quite dense. And no, that's been closer to the top. I'm trying to get more of the stuff that's either sitting on the ground and the blooming cockroaches get into it and sort of eat it as it starts to rot. And then you got the stuff on the top which is a little bit going, and then you got stuff further down which is even better than this. It's almost perfect. So I'm just trying to sort of get right into some of the tops and some of the edges and some of the stuff that's a bit worse rather than better. I think it might even be smart to be sorting between the good and the bad. I've got an old car out there that's, well, used to be driven by my grandfather, actually, an old 64, I think it is, model Cortina, coupe. I had a lot of floorboards and stuff jammed in it. It was actually pine, untreated pine decking. I don't know why the hell you'd buy that, but my uncle got that many years ago at a sawmill clearance sale. So yeah, I cut up a heap of that and had that in there for the last few years, and I sort of burned through it previous years. The car isn't as full as it used to be, so I probably should be getting some of the better stuff of this and throwing it in, because there's still quite a lot left. All this here was out of other stacks. I mean, look at it all. You know, you just about fit it in, or you might have one cut through the middle with a reciprocating saw and you can throw it straight in. I can throw stuff straight in like that, straight into my wood heater. That's, well, it's more than a foot long. Yeah. So I've just been trying to put some of it inside and whatnot. I've just moved some of this. You can always tell if something's been just moved in an area where you got sheep, because coming up to anything, they never chew the sides. So I've only moved this a few minutes ago, so you'll see, even with this box. If something's moved, there'll be long grass for no reason. It's just the way sheep eat things. I don't know why this is taller, but it's probably because all this is pouring out of here. Yeah, I took the tap out and it keeps blocking up with blooming sludge and shit. I think it's algae. And you get something, pussy. Yeah, wind's probably a little bit on the microphone with all this. All the plum trees are all bare, as is what happens during these times of the year. Everything else is nice and green. See how well I killed off all this Madeira vine. That's boom. Bloody dead. What I can't actually believe is it looks like the boxthorn underneath it's dead also. The dosage I used was nowhere near enough to kill the boxthorn. Nowhere near. You need a super high dosage for killing boxthorn. But somehow as I sprayed all of this vine, which is for all intensive purposes dead, at least for the most part, I've got to give these another spray. It's bloody coming back up from some of the original roots and some of the ones that have got in the ground that where you can see. They've got like little tubers that hang off. Oh, this is trying to come back. This bit of boxthorn. I've seen this before where they get all these small leaves. It's a sign that they're under stress. Instead of having your normal leaf be about that long, but they go and probably about that wide. They go tiny little leaves, and sometimes they go like real big leaves too. But if it's a tiny little cluster of leaves, it means it's having real problems even keeping alive. So, I mean, you can see the rest of it here is green as anything. Not a problem. One's in front of my bedroom and everything. But they've got these little air tubers, as they call them. They're like miniature potatoes. And some of them do go underground. And I think some of this business is some of these that have actually sprouted on their own from the ones that are in the ground. You can actually eat the ones under the ground. Madeira vine was used a lot in the early days of settling the United States, so I'm told. Also of red. A little bit of it in here too. You barely see it, but there's some there as well. Yes, pussy. Yeah, there's a few more shoots coming out from the original roots again. Shit. I have to spray all that again. This is the one that was actually climbing right up into the tree here before I cut that branch off, which is another video of me cutting the branch off. I haven't put that video up. I'm not certain, but I think I've put the one up where I dragged all the trees out of here and we're actually towing them all out to where I've cut them all up out there. Because I can't see it on my phone, so I assume I've uploaded it. Sorry if I haven't, but and me cutting this down here was, you know, how exciting can it be to cut a frickin' branch off? It's not even worth uploading, to be honest. But anyway, as I was saying, you can eat the little tubers that are under the ground, because theoretically they should be dotted all under the ground. There's another bit of green in there. And you can dig them out and eat them. The cat might have seen something there. You never know. Sometimes things blow in the wind and she jumps on them. Sometimes she just likes to play around like she's trying to attack something. And sometimes it is indeed a mouse. You get something, pussy? Sometimes it's a grasshopper. Sometimes it's just cats being cats. So you can eat the ones under the ground, but the ones that are above the ground, of which I think I can see some dried out ones in there. Shit, it's very hard to get into all this. There's some dried out ones there. So the ones that, there's more there. So ones that are above the ground, effectively they're like green potatoes because they've had sunlight. You can't eat them. The ones under the ground you can. But my experiments with messing around with them, they've got a thick skin, like really like about 1/8 of an inch thick. And they're so small, I don't know if you'd even bother. Anyway, I've sort of just flicked this phone on to go and show you all the blossoms, because we've got a lot of little spring blossoms. Thank God, it looks like a lot of this is dead as well. The big mama at the end still going, of course. Even coming out in flower. Sort of a bit early for that. Still bloody winter. But then again, I mean, if these are coming out in flower, you know, why wouldn't the boxthorn? Like, this is unbelievable the way this is held up. Because that's had a lot of other stuff dragged beside it and deliberately actually torn out from it. Because I cut all these stumps off and grabbed hold of them and dragged it out. And if you know anything about boxthorn, the shit intertwines. Like, you can have two together side by side and they'll frickin' intertwine to each other. So this got a fair thrashing because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-ish other things that got pulled out with it. It should have torn into the front of it, but she's a bit excited, to put it mildly. What do you reckon, puss? Hey? Meow meow? Yes? sometimes the sun starts going down and the cat starts going crazy or something. I don't know what it is. Some sort of an instinct thing. Have been a nocturnal animal. I might put my finger over the mic and we'll go out here. I saw some mountain ducks the other day. We don't often get them. Every couple of years we do, but had some out there. They're huge. When you first see them, you think they're friggin' geese or something. They're like a funny black and tan sort of a giant-looking bloomin' duck thing. I think they are a duck. But just comparative to the normal wood ducks and all that, like they're frickin' massive. They were just over there on me dam. There's a sheep out there, a couple of white cockatoos. It's not blowing that much. So all the blossoms are blowing off. Make fantastic photos. So my father's got a big long line. I think I've probably mentioned it to some of you who've been watching for a while. Father's got a big long line of these almond trees. So these ones are all bitter. Fairly old, quite old. Apparently when he was a kid back in the late 50s and early 60s, the almonds were fine on these. And this crazy cat just jumped up the tree in 3 seconds. God blimey, who needs Red Bull when you got a friggin' cat? Hi! Get him, pussy! Get him! Hi! Cute little putty amongst bloomin' almond blossoms. Isn't that right, hey? Your cute little pussy amongst a nice looking tree? Hey? Wow. I'm not worried about her falling out because she's a cat. She's friggin' invincible. Well, at least in her own mind she's invincible. Can't keep going, bud. It runs out of branch. The grass, you see the difference between the grass eaten and the grass not eaten. Which this is, gives you a bit of an indicator of what it could be. And this is bloody short for this time of year, to be honest. It's she hasn't sort of grown like it used to, but there's sort of a bit of a shift in the climate change, where we seem to get more rain now in the spring than in the winter. But the thing is, in the spring you got the heat, so then the growth goes ballistic, whereas it used to rain a lot and grow all right enough in the winter, and then the spring would just sort of keep going off of the dampness in the soil already. But now it seems to be getting its rain and its heat in the spring, and not much rain and cold in the winter. Which, believe it or not, it's climate change, it's got to be bad somehow. Well, you know, it could be just one of these things that's just happening for a few years, or just randomly happen, you know, for 2 or 3 years in a row. And it's so funny watching it. Grass is moving. Attack it. Attack, 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 attack. You're pulling the grass out, but yeah. What ends up happening as a result of it raining in spring is it remains, like a lot of people, you know, they see what this place is like in summer and they go, oh, do you live in a desert? Like most Americans think that, but, you know, it's referred to as the tinderbox because in summer it's completely dry and you've got grass and it's as dry as fucking dry. There's not a bit of, not even any humidity. It's just absolutely bone dry and hot. But because you get your rains now in the spring, it means your summer, instead of being mainly dry, your summer is like only really starting to get badly dry in like the last 3 weeks. And then you start to get spits and spats, you know, and the start of autumn remains a bit dry, but you start getting spits and spats of rain and it has a chance to come back greener. So essentially it no longer goes really, really badly dry all summer long. It only goes dry in the last month of summer. And in effect, you know, well, I mean, there's still green grass for the sheep to eat. Green grass is way, way more nutritious, like about 4 times the nutrition of what you'd get out of just dry shithole grass. The real nutrition's in the seeds, actually. Bit of breeze there. But it's a lot better on the sheep because it doesn't completely dry out and the nutrition levels don't completely drop if it's only dry for 1 month versus 3 months. And by dry I mean not just hot days and dry ground, I mean like all the grass is dead completely. The old cast iron mower thingamajigger. I believe I've got another one of these pieces of the wheel shaft, whatever you call them, like the spokes. I found another one of them more recently, which will be for this other wheel that I dropped here about 2 or 3 years ago, and it's already mounted up with dirt in the middle. It's only been sitting there for about 3 years. If that, might only be 2 years. Anyway. Give a couple of close-up shots here, get some nice close-ups of some of these blossoms as the sun's just about dying off on us. Oh look, the leaves are starting to come back too. Oh well. Oh yeah, even on this one the leaves are coming back a bit. We've been having a lot of bright days. We used to have overcast days all the time in winter, but once again we got through most of this winter and I haven't turned the inverter off yet. And quite honestly, you know, the power levels are really quite good most of the time. So it's a bit of a relief that, you know, instead of having a winter that's constantly overcast, it's a winter that's cold but bright, which is actually quite good for those people who are, you know, flogging the hell out of their electric heater. Those people who have got grid feed solar, which is quite a lot of people. Of course, their bill isn't going to be quite as bad if you get a good, you know, 6 hours of really bright sunshine in every day versus just bloody overcast. If you don't know, and I don't expect everybody to know, when you get an overcast day, your panels are only generating about 10% of what they otherwise would. And if it's a sort of only slightly overcast but fairly good day, it might be about 1/3/30%. And when it's a super bright day, of course, it's 100%. And I've seen times where I think it's gone over what the panel's even rated at. All the seeds coming up on me melaleucas, they're banging seeds out everywhere, these things. I hope some self-seed. I hope I get a whole frickin' shitstorm of them. Replace the box thorns with a whole shitstorm of blooming melaleuca. That'd be good. I don't know how well you can see. But the seeds are definitely forming on them. They've done quite well height-wise. Some of these pines are doing really well too, actually. There's another one up there, it's frickin' monstrous. I'll just go up there, actually. All the rocks. Bloody rocks never end in this joint. I was watching a thing on Dubai. They've used up all the rocks they've got in Dubai for concrete, and now they've got to bring them over the border. I'm not bloody joking. Importing rocks for building materials. Frickin' hell. Meanwhile, I'm tripping over the bloody things. I've got them all over the front lawn and everything. There we go, that one's done fairly well. And if I'm not incorrect on the end there, oh, there could be new shoots, but sort of reminds me a little bit of when they try and, you know, like as though they're full of pollen or something on the ends. It's probably just them growing like that, but I might be right, I might be wrong. Yeah, we'll find out when we get little flipping miniature pine cone or two, eh? Because they are the sort of pine cone pines, not the cypress like this where you get the little round nuts instead. They're actually sold as to be Christmas trees, which is the reason that they're so sort of, boom, a central sort of straight line kind of growth, as you can probably see in both of them. So they'll be all straight as a gun barrel, theoretically, and it seems like it's actually, they're going like that. It's almost like they've been genetically picked. That's got the same thing as well. I don't know if that's just them opening up more leaves or exactly what, but anyway, I think that's about 22 minutes of looking at the place. One of me little wood stacks. Got another one in the back there. Bloody wood everywhere. It's getting, it's not getting ridiculous. It always has been ridiculous, the amount of wood we've got. And you see things like this that are, you know, in the process of dying, and you think, oh, geez, I don't need even more. I went to the guy down the road who I gave a heap of stuff to last time. You know, well, we're going to be going on holidays, and quite honest, I couldn't even be bothered to cut it. I'm just buying it now. I'm like, holy smoke, I can't even give wood away. He couldn't make it up. Anyway, bit of a bonfire heap. That's just random bits of crap. Oh, that's some of the wood that went rotten. So that's the thing, you don't get to it before it goes rotten. I barely even chewed into me, what's his name? Let me stash of wood over here. I'm really questioning even to bother about these because there's so much dirt in them. Do you need to destroy your chainsaw? And the other thing is the sap content is really high, so they sort of keep going out because of the amount of sap in them. That may well end up on that and get burnt. So yeah, I only chewed into a little bit of the side here. I'm shocked. I thought I would be, you know, 2/3 of the way through this stack now, but barely got into it. What I'm doing, I used to wake up, like I'd wake up as it was dying down, I'd get out of bed and put another one on and try and fire it all back up again. But because you got out of bed, you know, leaned down, picked the wood up, jammed it in, maybe threw a bit of kindling in and then jammed the thing in, you're out of bed for several minutes and I'd be too awake. Well, I wouldn't be too awake to go to sleep, but just that sort of a interruption in your sleep was just, you know, you'd get back to sleep, but it was just, you'd been out of bed, physically moving things around and back in bed, and you just, I'm not one of these people that can just, you know, fall asleep easily. Some people, oh, head hits the pillow and I'm out, you know, and other people, oh, you know, maybe 5-10 minutes. On me, it's like 45 minutes or something. I've got myself a white noise generator, and that's helped. You know, I can probably drift off now in about 20 minutes or something like that, but it's always hard for me to get to sleep. Has been for, well, since I was in my teenage years, I think. But yeah, what I do now, I feel it going out, and instead of getting out of bed and trying to get it going again, what I actually do is I just pull the rugs over, the blankets, pull 2 blankets over, and often enough she'll be in the bed and she'll come and snuggle up next to me. And that's it. I'm warm enough under the blanket. So long as I wake up when it's starting to cool down but not when it's freezing cold, I'll be warm enough under 2 blankets that I can just sleep the rest of the night through like that. And in effect, you know, I'm saving quite a lot of wood in the process, because I'm probably, well, not technically using half, but probably almost technically only using half. And you know, wake up and I'm, you know, not too bad sort of thing. Particularly good if I got socks on, because if my feet get cold, then I'm fucked. I just can't go back to sleep at all. My feet get cold. But yeah. Anyway, I've actually got to drag a couple of these inside, and that was the last wood that I had to get for the day, and I'll see what I can get going for dinner tonight.